Hello and welcome to Spy Money. I'm going to talk to you about how to find trends. Where should you start? What time frames, and what time frames should you use for just your own trends in general. So I always start back on the weekly. I think if you find out where the stock is going, it makes it easier to do the lower time frame trends to know how to trade it intraday, or even if you're doing long, like a month out or whichever. So this is Amazon. I haven't even charted it out. And when I look, it's real low here. I wish that I had bought everything that I had that I could come up with, borrowed against or whatever, and just bought here, because $21 compared to $2,200. I mean, that's just huge. So I don't even trade Amazon. I haven't in the past. Probably will in the future. I just haven't yet. So if you go ahead and look at this and zoom in, and then you want to come back a little more, and what you're looking for is a trend that kind of where a lot of different candles will be touching. So when I look at this, I'm looking, these candles look like they're touching. So if I do a trend tool, and if you middle click your mouse and click right there, that's your trend. And then I'm going to click there, and I'm going to come up, and I'm going to see where these touch. Okay, so that's a pretty good one. This one, touched there, it almost there, it did here, and then you come up, it touched here. So, and this is, possibly even coming back down to it. So there's one trend line that is a good solid trend. There's multiple touches. If you have 3+ candles touching it, great. If you have more, even better. And if you wanted, you could probably, move this one up a little bit to the bottom of the body and bring that one in. So like, to give you an example, if you brought that up to there, it's almost touching there. So you could even use the body of that to make it even closer. I usually just use the wicks, and if I have multiple touches of the wicks, like this one protruded down a little bit, but that one ended up, oops, this one protruded down a little bit, but this one come down and touch. So I don't mind that coming through. I want to make it to where the majority of the candles are touching. Okay, so on this one, it doesn't really need to be. You could, I think if you went to intraday, you would probably, like if you went on a 1 hour, 4 hour, then you would be using those. But on this one, I just want like an overall general trend. Okay, so this will work for actually quite a while. And then what we want to do is go back to, I want to delete that out of there. I want to find the top one, or does it even have a top one? So what we're looking for is, we have this one, we have that one, then we have these. This one protruded up. So in my opinion, I think if you go here and come right up through here, now I don't mind that coming through, and I don't even mind this one coming through. That could have been an earnings release or something. But what I'm looking at is, see how this one touched, this one touched, this one touched, that one almost touched, and then you had all these. So I personally would use this as a trend. Some people won't. I would, and the reason I would is because this is an obvious trend that is touching. And if I bring this down a little more to where that was touching here, here. The body line is touching right there. You have that one touching. So this is an obvious resistance and support trend line, okay? Even though it did, cross over there, I still think that this is a good one. So right now, this one, starting with where it's skinny down here and fat up here, that's called an ascending, which means it's going up, broadening, which means it's opening up, wedge, which means it is an actual wedge. You're actually forming something that's going to make something happen out of it. Now, with Amazon, by looking at this, it looks like that this may, possibly come on down to touch that. This is the same basic trend that the futures are holding right now, the ES future. But it could go ahead and rally back up. We don't know for sure. This one did not touch up there. So this might have just been a little pullback, and then it's just going to rally up and touch. I personally think that's where it's going. I think the whole market is going to be reversing this week. You can see this big old long wick candle here, and I think it's going to go ahead and going up. So now that we got the weekly drawn out, and you put your weekly at different colors. So on this one, if you double click it, or if you right click and then hit edit properties, and then you can change your coloring on it. So on my weeklies, I make them the yellow. So whenever I go into the daily or 4 hour or lower time frame, I go to this blue. So I'm gonna save it as default so we can not have to change this every time. Oops. Let's see here. We'll change that one to yellow, and then the next one, when we click it, it'll be blue. So let's go ahead and go to a daily now. If we go to a daily, and then we can kind of see where we are. You can see that these are all touching up here. And if we make, actually we don't need to change that. If we go to the daily and look back, then we can see that this trend is basically about the same. Now, you do have another trend that you could draw in here. And let's see. That one's pretty close. So it looks like it may come down and hit this. And the reason you do a daily is you want to see where you are currently. A weekly is too far out to use trend lines just to trade, unless you're trading like a month out or something. If you're trading a month out, then you could use them. But most everybody trades and buys and sells in the same week. So if you use this one, that's you've got a lot of candles touching that, and that is a definite support trend. So with this one, will possibly come down and touch right here at the 1802 and then bounce out. As far as the top trend, we would still use this trend here because it's the main top trend for it, and you're still in a broadening wedge. It is skinnier here than it is here. So if we go ahead and open this up more so you can see it. Let's say I'll go to daily time. Let's do 20 years just so we can get it longer. Okay, so we could actually come back to here and pick that one up. Oops. We can pick this one up all the way to here. So this one's touching, this is playing around with it, and then you've got these right through here. So you could use this right here as a good trend that it may bounce off from. Now, if it comes through this, more than likely it's going to right here. So you've got two trends on this to watch. The top one is still the same one, because even on the daily, that's about where it's going. And then by looking at this, I would still be somewhat bullish after maybe a day. It looks like it maybe tonight it might drop down and touch this. It may not touch it at all. It don't have to. And then if we go back into a 1 hour, if we're going to get it even more, then we look at this 1 hour, and then we can see trends coming down through here. So if you did a trend line from, say, here to there, so you've got this one, you got that one broke through a little bit, but for the most part, that's a good solid trend. Now then you can come down through here, and if you look at this one, not really anything there to get a hold of. So this would be a good solid trend that's coming up and touching. So we closed here, so this may hit that and then bounce down. If it goes through this and up to where you got a couple candles above it, then more than likely it's just going to take off in a bull run. So that's what we're looking at right now. And so that's how trend lines work. That's how I use them. This one right here is almost, if you come back over, you could use this. This is touching here. This is touching here. You've got this descending triangle now, because when this is coming down and touching there, so you've got a horizontal right here, and you've got a descending. That's a bearish sign. Anytime that you have a flat, if you're pushing down, it's going to continue the trend down. If you're pushing up, then it's going to continue to push the trend up. Not always, but high 90% range is going to happen. So this one is a bearish pattern. Now, if the candles were coming up and the trend was off the bottom, that would be a bullish pattern. So when I look at this and the way this is popping up, it really kind of depends on tomorrow when it opens. Is this going to break the trend line or not? If it breaks the trend line, then I would be buying calls on it. But right now it's just too soon to tell. We don't know for sure which direction it's going to go, and until then, we just sit tight. We don't jump in a trade hoping that something's going to happen. We jump in a trade that's already confirmed and moving forward, either going up or down. We can get puts going down or we can get calls going up. So when this opens in the morning and starts trading, then we're going to see if it starts selling off, then more than likely we're going to keep on going down. But if it continues to rally, then more than likely we're going to be in a bull market, and it's probably going to come up to here. So I hope it helps you as far as knowing how to find the trends and where to start. It is not really that hard once you start looking at the chart and just trying to see a line. And if you're not sure, just start with a line. Like say you thought maybe this was going to touch, so you'd come down here. You come down here and you can start drawing a trend line that's going right through here. So if these numbers haven't been here, then you would draw something, to try to make something match up. And if you look, it almost this trend line is actually being utilized on this trade because you're touching here, you bounced off from it here, you come down and touch there. So there's a chance that maybe that will even come into play later. But right now, I don't really see it a useful trend. But as the candles move, if it broke through this and come down, then I would come down and start looking for another trend. So just because you have one trend doesn't mean that's the one. So anyway, I hope that helps you. If you have any questions, just comment below. We also have a Discord channel where we teach how to draw the patterns in the live streams. We also talk about our call outs, what we're actually buying and selling. It helps you get more involved on maybe a trade that you wouldn't normally think of, and try to make some more money. We charge $50 a month, and it's a recurring bill. So jump in. We have chat logs, and we do the futures, options, forex, penny stocks. There's a lot of different ones that we do. So it's just a matter of finding out where you're comfortable and learning how to trade it. If you'd like to know more about futures, it's easy to trade futures, and we go step by step on how to do that. We have charts already set up to where all these patterns are already drawn and put in. So all you have to do is just look at them and see if that trade makes sense to you. We don't tell you what to trade, but we do post what we trade. And by doing that, then once you see that trade, then you look at the charts and stuff and see if you agree with that opinion, and if you do, trade it. So, but I hope that helps you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and help grow the channel. The information for the Discord's in the description below. Thank you.